You provide the fire, I'll provide the sacrifice. You provide the Spirit, I will open up inside. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up. You provide the fire, I'll provide the sacrifice. You provide the Spirit, I will open up inside. You provide the fire, I'll provide the sacrifice. You provide the Spirit, I will open up inside. Fill me up, God. 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 Fill me up. Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. I wanna run over. Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. I wanna run over. Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. I wanna run over. Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. I wanna run over. Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. I wanna run over. I wanna run over.
Yes.
I gotta run over till my family responds. I wanna run over till the world responds. I wanna run over. Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. I wanna run over. Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. I wanna run over.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. May that constantly be our prayer. That He would fill us up with His Spirit. Hallelujah. You may be seated.
Jasmine? Did you turn it off?
I turned it off.
Oh, you turned it off.
Yes. Shabbat Shalom. So I just labeled this Kings, kind of picking up from last week's teaching. I know it's a little bit kind of all over the place. All right. So last week we went over the lineage of the Messiah, and then we covered the book of Kings and also the book of Chronicles. And a lot of people found a lot of interesting themes that they didn't know when we went over the book of Kings. So I wanted to kind of continue with some of the things about the Kings, but kind of wanted to lay sort of a foundation. When we read the book of Kings, it's almost to the fact that whoever had their parents where they keep giving you warning after warning after warning, and then when you do that final thing, she bring back all those warnings she gave you. So when you get that whooping or that punishment or whatever, all those things come related to that one punishment. So the Most High, you're gonna see with these kings that they were given warning after warning after warning until it's like I had enough. All right. So when we read this book, it's gonna be keep this in mind. And then also we had discussed a little bit about, let's just say for example, last Sabbath we talked about how the kingdoms had split, right? It was because of the sins of who? Solomon, right? So because of the sins of Solomon, the kingdom was split into the northern and the southern tribes, right? The northern was called the tribe of what?
Tribe of
Israel. And the southern was called the tribe of Judah. So it's broken into two nations, so to speak, right? Two different kings. Right. Right. You had Rehoboam and Jeroboam. Right. So what we're going to kind of discuss, and when we discussed that, okay, who came and took away the northern tribe? Assyria. Right. So this is what we're going to pick off at, right? So Assyria came in. The king of Assyria came in, swooped up the northern tribe, which consists of how many tribes? 10, right? With Levi, and so forth, right? All right. So they came in, took up the northern tribe. So now we're left with the tribe of who? Judah, which is in the southern tribe. So this is where we're going to pick it up at, right? So what I want to get to what led up to now the southern tribe getting taken away into captivity too, right? And we're going to see how when you read the book of Kings and the book of Chronicles, and each king basically had a prophet, right? What was the purpose of a prophet? This is important. What's the purpose of a prophet?
One that hears from God and from the Most High, and the priest wanted to give king how to
Right.
rule
So if a king wanted to do anything important, who did he consult with? He consult with the prophet, because what? He hears from the Most High, right? So keep this in mind, that a king, majority of the time, consults with a prophet to get the opinion of the Most High. What thus said Yah, right? This is how it works. So now, Assyria comes in, takes up the northern tribe, and now you're left with Judah, right?
What about Benjamin?
Benjamin?
You got Benjamin.
So, okay, we're gonna go all the way back. So the southern tribe consists of how many tribes? Huh? 10. I mean, the northern tribe. The northern tribe consists of how many? 10. So, and they were called what? Israel. The southern tribe consists of about how many? 2, right? And they were called what? Yeah, Judah and Benjamin, right? Made up the. So that answer your question? Okay. All right. Yes. Yeah. So the Levites, they didn't own any land, but they were a part of it. All right. So when you read sort of Ezra, it'll tell you the Levites, Benjamin, Judah, so forth. All right. So we're good there. So now that Assyria came in, the question is, why didn't Assyria come in and get Judah too? You know, why would they like just stop right here? It only take this, right?
They maintained the oracle of God.
Right. But did Assyria actually go away though?
No.
No, it went away, so we're gonna see that, right? All right, so we'll pick it up right there, okay? So let's go. Now you got your bottle of water because you don't go through these names. Oh man. So we're gonna start off, let's start off with start off with 2 Kings chapter 18. 2 Kings chapter 18. And we'll pick it up at verse 1.
Hallelujah. The book of 2 Kings, chapter 18, verse 1. It said, now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Eli, king of Israel.
Okay. Turn it down a little. All right, go ahead.
That Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign.
All right, so who's king of Judah right now? Hezekiah. So he's reigning as king of the southern tribe, right? All right, verse 2.
All right, verse 2. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah.
Right, keep going.
And he did which was right in the sight of Yahuwah.
So this is important, right? So this king did what was right in the sight of the Most High, right? Keep going.
According to all that David his father did, he removed the high places and brake the images,
All right.
and cut down the groves.
But I want to make sure everybody have an understanding, because this thing is going to repeat itself. When we say the high places, what do you think that means?
Those are altars where they worship idols.
Correct. And they would put them in what? On hills and so forth, right? So all to see, right? Put them in a high place. All right, keep going. And he cut down.
And cut down the groves and break in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with the brazen serpent that Moses made?
They started to worship that.
They started to worship that, right? They started to think it was the image, right, that healed us, and not the Most High.
What's most important is how long they did that.
Correct.
We're talking about hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But they still have the image.
Right. So, keep going. It's going to tell you why. Keep going.
For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it, and he called it Nehushtan.
So they put incense right underneath that brazen service and worship it. Man, how quickly did we, these images, we take these images and do all these wicked things with them, right? All right, keep going. What's that, verse 4? Keep going.
Yes, verse 5. He trusted in Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, so that after him was none like him among all the kings of Judah. nor any that were before him.
Right? Keep going, verse 6.
For he clave to Yahuwah, and departed not from following him, but kept his commandments, which Yahuwah commanded Moses.
All right, so Hezekiah, King Hezekiah, was considered righteous in the eyes of the Most High. He did that and followed in the footsteps of his father David, right? And he kept the commandments, which Yah commanded Moses, right? Keep going, verse 7.
And Yahuwah was with him, and he prospered whithersoever he went forth. And he rebelled against the king of Assyria, and served him not.
All right, so now the king of Assyria is coming back into play. He took the northern tribe, right? So now Assyria is coming into play, right? And he did what? He rebelled against them, right? And served him not. This is important. So Assyria is reigning, the nation that is reigning in control right now. They took over the southern tribe. Now they're trying to take over. They took over the northern tribe, and now they're trying to take over the southern tribe. Skip down to verse 13.
Verse 13. Now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, did Sennacherib, king of Assyria, come up against all the fenced cities of Judah, and took them.
All right, okay, imagine right now. So Judah is now a fenced city, right? It's kind of a fortified city. Assyria king comes and takes down all that, right? What do you think the purpose of him taking it down?
So that they will be able to be bad.
Yeah, so they could get in and out as they please, right? So now he's showing strength right now. So the king of Assyria is showing strength. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And Hezekiah, king of Judah, sent to the king of Assyria, to Lachish, saying, I have offended. Return from me, that which thou puttest on me will I bear. And the king of Assyria appointed unto Hezekiah, king of Judah, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold.
All right. So here's what's going on, right? What nation is in control right now? Assyria, right? Assyria is saying they took down their fences, now they in, right? And he said to Hezekiah, you guys want to stay where you are? You don't want to be bothered by us? Pay that tribute, right? It's like a taxation. You know, like kind of like how the mafia kind of work. They let the businesses operate. We gotta make sure nothing happens to your business. You just pay us, right? Kind of like that, security protection, so to speak, right? Protection from them too. Protection from us. Pay us, and we won't come and take your money, right? This is what's going on. All right, so Hezekiah, king of Judah, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. All right? Let's see where Hezekiah gets this from. All right, to be able to pay this tribute. Keep going.
Verse 15. And Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the house of Yahuwah.
What's the house of Yahuwah? Temple. He went in the temple and said, all that. And gave it to who? The king. Right. Go ahead.
And in the treasures of the king's house.
All right.
At that time did Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of Yahuwah.
Hezekiah said, man, wherever you can find gold, silver in the temple, he took it, right? This is important. He took all the gold and silver out of the temple. He took it from his castle and so forth, right? Keep going.
And from the pillars which Hezekiah, king of Judah, had overlaid, and gave it to the king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria sent Tartan, and Rabsaris, and Rabshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah, with a great host against Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem. And when they were come up, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the highway of the fuller's field.
All right. Okay, so now, so he gave it to Assyria, some time passed, and now the king of Assyria sends some men back to Jerusalem, right? And we're gonna figure out why they send these men back to Jerusalem, right? Let's go to verse 18.
Verse 18. And when they had called the king, there came out to them Eliakim. Is that right? Eliakim, the son of
Which was
Hilkiah.
over. Which said which the son of? Okay, yeah. Oh, that's a, oh yeah, Eliakim. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Eliakim, okay.
Yeah.
The son of Hilkiah,
Yeah.
which was over the household, and
So right here, when we say over the household, that means he's second in command, right? So Assyria comes, they're right there in Jerusalem, calling for King Hezekiah. Hezekiah sends out second in command, he doesn't go out. Right, keep going.
And Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder.
All right, so he sends out a scribe, he sends out second in command, he sends out the scribe. What's the scribe?
Secretary.
Recorder.
Scribe was the scribe, what kind of a writer, right? He's a writer, right? But those who mostly write the Torah? The scribe, right? What's a recorder?
Well, the recorder is like, well, we see what when the scribe, if there's something, we give it to the recorder. To put it, it's like the person who does filing.
Correct. The events that happen, he writes down, records, and files, and say, okay, yeah, this is a record of what happened, right? Okay, so we got these out. We got these, okay, keep going. What verse, that was verse 18?
Yes, sir.
All right, 19.
All right, verse 19. And Rabshakeh said unto them, Speak ye now to Hezekiah. Thus says the great king, the king of Assyria, what confidence is this therein thou trustest?
All right, so now we got these men standing outside, right? So we got Assyria and we got Israel, right? These men standing outside. So Rakishim say unto them, Speak ye now to Hezekiah, right? Thus said the great king, and the king of Assyria, what confidence is this wherein you trusted? So they speaking in a way, like, so Assyria, they're the nation in control. And they know that Israel is paying tribute to them, which means that, you're subject underneath us. But they came out, Israel came out with all this confidence, and they're like, where are you getting this confidence from? You come around like, oh, the king can't come out himself? He's sending in second in command? All right, keep going.
Verse 20. Thou sayest, but they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for war, or for the war.
He said, you think I'm speaking vain words? I see counsel that I know I can attack you anytime I want to. Like, I have the knowledge, I have the understanding. He said, when he said I see counsel, I know everything about you. I even know where your confidence is coming from, but why you speaking this way. And he's going to tell him, right? Keep going.
Now
what?
On whom do thou trust, that thou rebel against me?
He said, you're going to rebel against the king of Assyria? So this is what he said. He said, now speak to the great king, right, Hezekiah. He said, all right, I'll speak to you. Who art thou who's going to rebel against me? Right? Who are you to rebel against Assyria? Keep going.
Now, behold, thou trustest upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Egypt.
So he already know. He's like, oh, you got your trust in Egypt. This is where your confidence coming in. You think Egypt is going to stop us? This is why you speaking this way? This is why you rebelled against us? All right, keep going.
On which, if a man lean, it will go into his hand, and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, unto all that trust on him.
Right. He said, even unto all that trust on him. He's like, oh, you trust in Egypt. You trust on the king is going to help you, right? Let's keep going, verse 22.
Verse 22. But if ye say unto me, we trust in Yahuwah our Elohim, is not that he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah had taken away, and has said to Judah and Jerusalem, ye shall worship before this altar in Jerusalem.
Right, come on, verse 23.
Now therefore, I pray thee, give pledges to my sovereign, the king of Assyria.
So he said, right now, I'm going to tell you, the best thing for you right now, you better get that pledge. All right, keep going.
And I will deliver thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them.
All right, so you got King of Syria, right? You got all of Israel right there watching this thing take place, right? That transpired. He's saying, give your pledges, right? And I would deliver thee 2,000 horses if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them, right? He's almost like a threatening them. I'm going to kill your men if you don't pay, because they won't be able to ride on these horses, right? If you're able. Keep going. Verse 24.
24. How then wilt thou turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen?
Right. So he's saying that I'm going to give you this, right? Don't put your trust in Egypt. Don't put your confidence in Egypt, because that nation is not strong as we are, right? So he's saying, I will take care of it. All right, go ahead.
I thought, where he said he was,
Right.
you know, given that, okay, now we found out that he was trusting Pharaoh.
Correct.
Egypt. And he has said, oh, well, you know, Egypt, I mean, he said Egypt was a weak reed. That's the way he described it.
Right.
Okay, so he's saying over here now, you pay the tribute. Instead of Egypt coming to defend you, I'm going to give you horses.
Right.
You know, your men, you know, like I give you a weapon, you know, to where your men, you know, like right here now you depend on Egypt because Egyptians have horses. They can come defend you because you don't have. But to pay this tribute, these horses, this 1,000 horses or whatever, how many of them he said he was going to provide.
Right.
That his men are. This is the way this is the way I understand that, given to the previous passage. Like it was going to be like he gave them, when they paid the tribute, he gave them the horses, and then they will be able to defend themselves with those horses.
Right. So when we look at chariots and horses, what's the purpose of chariots and horses?
It's for war.
It's for war, right? So when Egypt's like, okay, I got your back. Egypt said, I got your back, Israel. We'll give you chariots and horses and so on and so forth, right? So that we can go to war and we can overtake, the king of Syria, right? So when he said, oh, I got counsel, I know your plan. Just pay your tribute. Don't put your trust in Egypt. Right. So this is kind of what we'll get to it, but the way he talks, he's talking, with muscle, like and so forth, right? So we'll get to it. What was that verse? What? 24?
Yes, sir.
All right. And who's the prophet during Hezekiah's time? Isaiah's the prophet during Isaiah's time. And we're going to see why they shouldn't put their trust in Egypt. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 31. Isaiah chapter 31.
Also, when I see that verse number, the horses, just showing the wealth that they have. I delivered the 2,000, if you even got that many people you can ride. You know?
That's right.
So kind of like boasting in the wealth that we control. I can deliver you 2,000 horses, and I don't think you even got that many people can ride on the horse.
Their wealth and strength.
All right, Isaiah chapter 31, verse 1. This is the prophecy of Isaiah, right? Go ahead.
Verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help.
So he's saying, what woe mean? Huh? Kind of like destruction, right? The destruction to them that go down to Egypt for help. Go ahead.
And stay on horses and trust in chariots.
Is this the exact same verbiage that the king of Assyria used?
Exactly.
Right? Keep going.
Because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong.
Right? So he said, Egypt, they got many horsemen, many chariots. They look very strong, right? Go ahead.
But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahuwah.
So this is the prophecy during that time that Isaiah is given, right? So when the king of Assyria approaches Jerusalem and say, don't put your trust in Egypt. They're horsemen, they're chariots. They're not strong enough. You think they're strong enough? And Isaiah is prophesying, what he's prophesying, it says, telling King Hezekiah, don't put your trust in Egypt, because they're not righteous. They don't look not unto the Holy One of Israel or seek Yahuwah. Right? So we see this prophecy that Isaiah is prophesying is happening currently with King of Assyria and King of Judah.
I got a question here.
Yep.
That was a prophecy, right?
Right.
Given to.
He telling you, when it happens, don't put your trust in them, right?
But you see, the Assyrian kingdom is also a pagan kingdom as Egypt.
Right.
And now this man that is a pagan is actually telling the chosen one of Most High, the chosen one of Most High, that telling them the prophecy that a prophet that is in that land has given. So
Right.
were they listening, or was that in the nation listening to the prophecy of Isaiah, or how did
No.
come to quote? It's like he was quoting Isaiah here.
Right. So for example, so you're right, Assyria is a pagan nation, right? But who actually put kings in position for his will, right? And because the sin of the northern tribe, who did the Most High sin? Yeah, so he took the king of Assyria to say, fulfill my judgment on the northern kingdom. So he's using him. So, but the southern kingdom, he doesn't want that nation to touch him. So, but the prophecy that came to Isaiah to say, woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help, right? Stay on horses, he's just saying, man, it's kind of like parallel what's going on right now. Right?
I got a question.
Yep.
So, and I think you're about to just answer it, sorry if I interrupted, but are you saying that the Isaiah 31 is happening at the same time, like 30 and 31 is happening at the same time as this is happening in Kings 2?
No, it's like parallel. Not really happening at the same time, but he's told them destruction to those who look at Egypt for help.
So he's not talking to the king in Isaiah,
So yeah, he is talking to Hezekiah. Right.
but that's not happening at this time right here. And
Are they looking for Egypt or for help? Yeah, they were looking for Egypt for help. You're gonna see the destruction. It's gonna play out. We're finished. We're gonna play out. We're gonna see where Egypt comes into play. All right. So that was Isaiah chapter 31, verse 1. Let's go back to 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 18. Did we finish 24?
Yes,
Finish
sir.
24? Let's go to 25.
Verse 25. Am I now come up without Yahuwah against this place to destroy it? Yahuwah said to me, go up against this land and destroy it. Then said Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and Shebna, and Joah, unto Rabshakeh, speak, I pray thee, to thy servants in the Syrian language.
You guys catch this? This is good. This is good. All right, so you got Assyria right there, right? And then you have the second in command. You got the scribe, and you got the recorder of Israel, right? And then you got all these people who's kind of watching, people standing at the wall, right? Now read verse 26 pretty slow. Because this guy is speaking like, don't trust in Egypt. Just pay your tribute. All things will be all right. So let's read it slow. 26.
Keep going.
Yeah. No, from the beginning.
Okay.
All right.
Then said Eliakim,
Right.
the son of Hilkiah,
All right, the second in command.
and Shebna, and Joah,
All right, the scribe and the recorder.
unto Rabshakeh, speak, I pray thee, to thy servants in the Syrian language.
All right, so they're speaking in Hebrew right now. Why do you think they would ask him, wait, speak to us in the Syrian tongue? Why do you think they would say that? Why would they switch, ask them to switch?
They don't want the people to hear.
They don't want the people to hear. Why wouldn't they want the people to hear?
But they were afraid.
Fear. Fear, because the way this guy talking, he's not talking like he's coming and like, let's negotiate, let's work things out. This guy he's coming with a mission, right? Right? So he's like, wait. Hey, speak to us in the don't speak that Hebrew. Too many people listening. Speak to us in the Syrian tongue. All right, keep going.
For we understand it.
We understand the Syrian. Keep going.
And talk not with us in the Jews' language, in the ears of the people that are on the wall.
And they listening, man. I'm like, the ears, that mean, oh man, too many people listening to what's going on, right? Hezekiah not out here, standing, second in command speaking, and so forth. So the people watching and they listening, they don't want fear to come upon them, right? Keep going.
But Rabshakeh said unto them, Hath my master sent me to thy master, and to thee to speak these words.
So he's saying, did the king of Assyria just send me just to speak these words to you and your king? No, he sent me to speak this word to everyone who want to listen, right? Keep going.
Hath he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall?
He sent me to even those who's over there listening. All right, keep going.
That they might eat their own dung and drink their own urine with you.
So this guy right here, he's good. So, he's telling him, you're about to eat dung and you're going to drink your own urine. And if these guys follow you, they're going to be doing the same thing you're going to be doing, right? What does it mean to eat your own? What are they going to do that will cause people to eat their own dung and drink theirs?
Well, I mean, they'll be captured and they'll be, I mean, these people will be overwhelmed.
But this is a tactic though, first. Before they even catch, they talk about a tactic, right?
That's right.
Right.
It's like they want to put, before they invest.
So somebody mentioned it over here to do what? Starve them, right? They're not letting nothing in, they're not letting nothing out. Kind of like how Josephus recorded it in the Roman siege, right? They built a trench around the temple, Jerusalem. They ain't letting nothing in, they ain't letting nothing out. And he recorded that they were eating their own dung and drinking their own piss, right? This is what he's talking about, a tactic. I'm gonna starve you out, right? And he said, now everybody at the wall is hearing it. He's like, I ain't speaking in no Hebrew. I ain't speaking in no Assyrian. I'm speaking in Hebrew. I want everybody to hear this, right? So they can instill fear. Keep going. Verse 28.
Verse 28. Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language.
So he spoke even louder. in their language. He wanted everyone to hear. Keep going.
And spake, saying, Hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria.
Right? 29.
Thus said the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hand.
He said, don't let Hezekiah trick you. All those words he's trying to don't let him trick you. He cannot save you out of the hands of the great king of Assyria. And he's speaking loud so all can hear, right? Keep going.
Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahuwah, saying, Yahuwah will surely deliver us, and this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria.
Oh, he messed up now.
That's right.
So he just messed up, right? Because we're going to see, like, everything was good until the Most High heard these words, right? All right. So read it one more time so we know, right? Verse 30.
Verse 30. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahuwah, saying, Yahuwah will surely deliver us, and this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria.
Yeah, don't let him tell you that Yah will save you. Yah can't save you. Your God can't save you. Keep going.
Verse 31. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus said the king of Assyria, Make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me, and then eat ye every man his own vine, and every one of his own fig tree.
Right. So he's enticing them right now. He's enticing them. Give up. Come with us. You won't have to eat dung and drink piss. Guess what? Every man's gonna eat of his own fig tree. All right? Did we finish that?
No, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
And drink ye everyone the waters of his cistern.
So he's like, you got a choice. Dung, piss, fig tree, water. Right? The choice is yours, right? Verse 32.
Until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of olive oil and of honey, that ye may live and not die. And hearken not unto Hezekiah when he persuaded you, saying, Yahuwah will deliver us.
All right, so this is what they do. Assyria comes, take over the land, take all the people out, place them in another land, bring some other people, put them in the new land. So, for example, when they took the northern tribe, who did they replace them with? Who? Samaritans, right? Right. So a little bit of everybody, right?
And
Yeah.
it's not actually, it's like this. They've got people who don't belong to that place they have.
Correct. Yeah. So wherever they conquer, take someone from here,
Yeah.
put her here. They conquer another land, take them out, take these people, put them here. This is what they do. So he was telling them, hey, just submit unto us. Stay here for a while till we come and get you. And we're going to give you a land just like the current land you have, like the land flowing with milk and honey. Right? We're going to give you a land, make it seem all nice, right?
Yeah.
Just submit to us. Right? Let's keep going.
Verse 33.
All right?
Hath any of the mighty ones of the nations delivered at all his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria?
All right, so and this guy keep going, right? He's boasting, right?
So much.
I took over all these nations. Did any of their God save them? Did any of their mighty ones save them? Man, like, who took it? What mighty one took them out the hands of King of Syria? Nobody. Not yet. Right? And he's saying, so he already know the God of Israel because he took the northern tribe. Did it save him out of the hands of King of Syria? Because the Most High wanted to happen.
That's right.
Right? So he's bragging, like Don't let Hezekiah tell you your God's gonna save you. No mighty one did that yet.
Yeah, he conquered the northern tribe, right?
Hmm?
But he did not know why he had the power to conquer them.
Oh no, he doesn't know why.
That's why
The Most High just used them.
Yeah, that's
Right,
why
right.
that's why he was speaking the way he speaking, and that's why I was asking the question I was asking before. You know, why would this guy be quoting, prophecy of Isaiah?
Right.
You know, why? That's what I was thinking.
Right. So just imagine Isaiah told him, don't put your trust in Egypt.
Are they listening?
And let's just say it's in the back of his mind, right? Then the king of Assyria comes and mentions exactly what.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's right. I remember that prophecy that Isaiah gave. It's coming to fruition. All right. All right, let's keep going. Where we stop off at?
I just read 33.
33, okay. 34.
Verse 34. Where are the mighty ones of Haman and of Arpad?
He's like, these other nations, they had gods too. Where are their mighty ones? All right, keep going.
Where are the mighty ones of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Iva?
All right, he said all these other countries, they had gods. What God stopped the king of Assyria from taking them over? Where were they? No one can save him from the hand of King Assyria. He's trying to show his track record. Here's my track record. All right, keep going.
Have they delivered Samaria out of my hand?
All right, keep going.
Who are they among all the mighty ones of the countries that have delivered their country out of my hand? That Yahuwah should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand.
They're like, who is the God of Jerusalem? He said, every country have a God.
Yeah.
And not yet have any mighty ones took them out the hands of King Assyria. You got a mighty one too. Who is he? All right. Keep going.
36. But the people held their peace and answered him not a word.
Yeah, so when he was making that plea to them, nobody said nothing to him. Let's see why. Keep going.
For the king's commandment was, saying, answer him not.
He said, answer him. Don't say a word to them. All right? Keep going.
Then came Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent.
All right, right there. All three of them, second in command, scribe, the recorder. What does it mean they had their clothes rent? It's horrible. What would be the purpose of them tearing their clothes? Anger, right? What they heard was angry. Right? They didn't agree with what they heard. Ah, this king right here, who is he boasting of? Right? Right? So they come to Hezekiah. Hezekiah already see their clothes rent. You know, they thinking like, oh, this is not good, right? All right, they all got their clothes rent, torn. Keep going.
And told him the words of Rabshakeh.
All right. So we see that Assyria didn't really, go away. After they took the northern tribe, they're trying to take the southern tribe. All right. And we know Hezekiah was what? A righteous king. Right? Okay. Let's go to 2 Kings 19. Verse 1.
And so verse 1.
So now they telling Hezekiah what transpired right outside the gate, right? All right, go ahead, by the wall.
And it came to pass, when King Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of Yahuwah. And he sent Eliakim, which was over the house, and Shebna the scribe.
All right. So in verse 1, Hezekiah heard what happened. He rent his clothes, right? And covered himself with sackcloth. What's the purpose of covering yourself with sackcloth?
Mourning.
I thought it was
Mourning represents mourning. All right. And then he went into the house of Yahuwah, the temple, right? I was going kind of off track a little bit. So the purpose of renting your clothes is for your anger, right? You heard something, you disagree with it, right? Can the priest rent their clothes? No, it's against the law. It's against the commandments. Why? Because if they do it, and they hear something and discuss, that means they're going against the judgment of the Most High. Right? So just keep that in mind. All right. Okay.
So it's two reasons why, when they rent the clothes and went to the king, that was mourning, or they were mad?
No, because they were angry with what they
They
heard.
weren't scared or something. They were mad.
No, when you hear something you disagree with, you're angry, you don't agree with it, it's just showing anger, so to speak. That's how they showed it.
Did Josiah, did he rent his clothes when they found the book of the law?
We're gonna get to that.
Oh.
So that's good. We're gonna get to Josiah. All right. That was finish verse 2. Start from the beginning, verse 2. 2 Kings 19, verse 2.
And he sent Eliakim, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests, covered with sackcloth, to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos.
All right, so remember in the beginning, what's the purpose of a prophet? To do what? To say, thus say the Most High, right? He hears the word from the Most High. All right, so those three go by word from the king to the prophet Isaiah, right? Verse 3.
And they said unto him, Thus said Hezekiah, This day is a day of trouble, and of rebuke, and blasphemy.
What was the blasphemy? What was the blasphemy that was said?
Verse 30.
Say, right, deliver you from the hands of the Assyrians, right? That's that blasphemy. Go ahead.
For the children are come to the birth, and there is not strength to bring forth.
Right, so we need y'all's help. We need them to bring forth this birth, right? Because we're not able to do it ourselves. All right, verse 4.
It may be Yahuwah thy Elohim will hear all the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria, his master, had sent to reproach the living Elohim, and will reprove the words which Yahuwah thy Elohim had heard.
So he heard them, right? He heard all that blasphemy that was said. Okay, all right. I'm going to show you my strength, right? Keep going.
Wherefore, lift up thy prayer for the remnant that are left.
So we see here, the Most High heard all those words, right? He was listening to that conversation. Verse 5.
So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah.
Right? Verse 6.
And Isaiah said unto them, Thus shall ye say to your master, Thus say Yahuwah, Be not afraid of the words which thou hast heard, with which the servants of the king of Assyria had blasphemed me.
All right, so now they got confirmation now. Oh man, we spoke to the prophet. Oh, everything's good. Don't be afraid, right? All the blasphemy words, all that stuff he was talking about, don't worry about that. The Most High has it, right? Keep going.
Verse 7. Behold, I will send a blast upon him, and he shall hear a rumor, and shall return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land.
Right? So he's like, all right, don't worry. I'm going to send a little rumor. They're going to return to their own land, and I'm going to cause them to fall the sword of his own land. Right, keep going, verse 8.
So Rabshakeh returned and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah.
All right, let's go to, skip down to verse 32. That's kind of the rumor. So verse 32.
Verse 32. Therefore, thus said Yahuwah concerning the king of Assyria,
Right?
he shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there,
There's not even an arrow is going to be shot in this city. Keep going.
nor come before it with shield, nor cast a bank against it.
Because he was talking about, right, you pay this tribute, you don't pay the tribute, you're going to war, right? Keep going.
By the way that he come, or the way he came, by the same shall he return, and shall not come into this city, said Yahuwah. For I will defend this city to save it, for my own sake and for my servant David's sake.
So we see here, for he would defend, the Most High would defend the city, right? There's nothing you have to do. You did the right thing, right? Your king is righteous. He went to the temple. He prayed. He sought my advice from my prophet. I'll take care of this. Don't worry about it. All right. Let's go to verse 35.
And it came to pass that night that the angel of Yahuwah went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 180,5,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses.
185,000. The angel of the Lord walked forth. And then that morning, just corpses, right? So, when we look at this, right, we look at the events that's happening today. And we see all this oppression. We just make sure we live a righteous life. All right? When we get oppressed, we pray to the Most High. He'll defend us. He'll take care of it. Let's get to verse 35. Let's do verse 36.
So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed, and went and returned and dwelt at Nineveh.
All right, so now Assyria is not coming up against the southern tribe, right, of Israel. All right, so he's in Nineveh, which is part of a city in Assyria. All right, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 20. We'll pick it up at verse 1.
And so verse 1. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death. And the prophet Isaiah, the son of Amos, came to him and said unto him, Thus said Yahuwah, set thy house in order, for thou shalt die and not live.
All right, so Hezekiah is sick unto death, right? So he's sick, and the prophet Isaiah came to tell him, this is what's going on, right? Get your house in order. You're about to die, all right? Keep going, verse 2.
Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto Yahuwah, saying, I beseech thee, O Yahuwah, remember now how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore.
All right, so he turned, prayed to the Most High, and wept. Verse 4.
And it came to pass, afore Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, that the word of Yahuwah came to him, saying, Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, Thus said Yahuwah, the Elohim of David thy father.
All right, so as Hezekiah was sitting there praying, Isaiah was leaving. Most High told him, turn around, go back. Keep going.
I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee on the third day. Thou shalt go up unto the house of Yahuwah.
All right, so he's telling them, all right, I heard your prayers. I'm gonna heal you on the third day, and then you shall go up to the temple. Right? Keep going, verse 6.
And I will add unto thy days 15 years. And I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria. And I will defend this city for my own sake, and for my servant David's sake.
Right? Verse 7.
And Isaiah said, take a lump of figs, and they took and laid it on the boil, and he recovered.
Recovered, right? Verse 8.
And Hezekiah said unto Isaiah, what shall be the sign that Yahuwah will heal me, and that I shall go up into the house of Yahuwah the third day?
All right, so you want to know, when will I be completely healed? Because when I'm completely healed, I should know, and then I can know on the third day I can go up, right, to the house, right? So he wanted to know, how would I know that I'm completely healed? Keep going.
And Isaiah said, this sign shalt thou have of Yahuwah, that Yahuwah will do the thing that he has spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees, or go back 10 degrees?
All right, so he's talking about a shadow, right? We're going to figure out what this shadow is, right? Keep going, verse 10.
And Hezekiah answered, it is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. Nay, but let these shadow return backward 10 degrees.
All right, so what do you think he's talking about here?
That's the sun.
Huh?
The sun child?
The movement of the sun, right? So the shadow thing that he's talking about, what do you think what he's referring to? Sundial. A sundial, right? So when the sundial happened, 10 degrees will represent probably another hour, right? First hour, second hour, third hour, right? So as the sun moves and rotates, the degrees go forward. He's saying, oh, that's done. That's an easy thing. It happens automatically. But is it a light thing for it to go back 10 degrees? No, they never seen that happen, right? So he's saying, when you see it go back, then you know that you're healed. Keep going.
Verse 11. And Isaiah the prophet cried unto Yahuwah, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which he had gone down in the dial of Ahaz.
Right, so it's the sundial, right? They call it the dial of Ahaz. This is how they kept record of time. So the way we kept record of time, we have a clock, right? And we know that it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. But for them, they use a sundial. And when the sunrise happened, moved 10 degrees, they call it the first hour, the second hour, the third hour, the fourth hour, right? So during the day, they would know when it's evening time based on the sundial. So when you see reading, they say like, oh, it was let's just say, for example, sun rose at 6 a.m. and they say it's the third hour. What time would that be? 9.
But that's if you look at it, the clock.
Right.
That's how the clock is made.
Yeah, this is where they got the concept from.
That's exactly how the clock
This is where the concept comes from. The sundial. Right.
1 minute. 1 minute is 60 degrees. Watch that out.
Right. So you see here they knew mathematics, right?
Exactly.
So they knew they might have had when it's the sundial, the shade gets right here, that's the first hour. They might have had another thing right here, when it hits that's the second hour. Right? So this is how they told time, by the hour.
I was wrong. It was 1 second is 60 degrees. Not 1 minute. It's 1 second, 60 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah. The way it's divided. What we have. Clock.
All right. So go ahead and continue with verse
12.
Verse 12. All right.
At that time, Baradak Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present unto Hezekiah, for he had heard that Hezekiah had been sick.
All right, so now we got another nation coming. This is gonna get pretty good. So now we got another nation coming in. Who? king of Babylon. Syria's gone. Babylon's is now, here, right? So at this time, they heard that Hezekiah was sick, right? And he says that the king of Babylon sent a letter and a present to Hezekiah, right? And because he heard that Hezekiah has been sick. So he sent them a goodwill letter, hey, we heard you sick. Here's a card, goodwill card. Here's a present too also, right? Keep going, verse 13.
And Hezekiah hearkened unto them, and showed them all the house of his precious things, the silver, and the gold, and the spices, and the precious ointment, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah showed them not.
So this guy said, give him a letter and a present. He's like, come on, let me show you everything I got. I appreciate this. This is great. He shows him everything, all the gold, the silver. These guys from, he don't know Babylon, from let me show you everything I got. Come on, hey, you see this? Look at it. Oh, that's made of gold right there. You didn't know that, right? Look at that. Right? Keep going.
Verse 14. Then came Isaiah to the prophet unto King Hezekiah.
All right, so Isaiah comes, right? He comes to King Hezekiah, go ahead.
And said unto him, what said these men?
Who that? Who you with? Who are these people, right? Keep going.
And from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, they are come from a far country, even from Babylon.
Oh, they come from a far country. They come from Babylon. I'm like, what? Okay. Go ahead.
And he said, what have they seen in thy house? And Hezekiah answered, all the things that are in my house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not showed them.
Yeah, that's like, who are these men? What you showed them? Oh, I showed them everything. What do you mean? They sent me a goodwill card and some present, right? That's nothing. I have not shown them. Like, man, like, that's a kind of come on, man. All right, keep going, verse 16.
Verse 16. And Isaiah said unto Hezekiah, hear the word of Yahuwah.
So he's like, man, all right, here's what the Most High say, all right, because you did this. Go ahead.
Verse 17. Behold, the days come that all that is in thy house, and that which thy fathers have laid up in store unto this day, shall be carried into Babylon. Nothing shall be left, said Yahuwah.
Right. Because you did this, because you showed them everything, it's going to come a day. Babylon's going to come and take all of this. Remember this is important. They're going to come and take all of this. All right? Nothing shall be left, said Yahuwah. All right, keep going. Yeah. A king comes in. It had to be a nice present. It doesn't say what the present was, but it had to be a nice present for him to show. Maybe he got gold and silver too. Oh, God, this can go to my collection. Let me show you what I got. It had to be a nice present.
Because that's dangling in front of
his
face, like what he can have and be conquered.
What do you think they were thinking, right? This country got gold, silver. He's showing, he's like, nothing I didn't show him. Look at his palace. You can take this over. So forth, right?
No, it's more like kind of like it's for the reputation. They already knew Hezekiah. Right? I said we heard you were sick. How they heard about Hezekiah first? All right. How they know who King Hezekiah was? Kind of like you saw what happened with Queen of Sheba when she came with Solomon. What did Solomon do? Solomon sold her everything, right? So kind of like a custom when they seeing where they looking no threat on these people here. They looking as friends, as someone that was, because no enemy gonna give you a good, on this end here. So they see no value on that end there. Same what happened with Queen of Sheba when she came with gifts and came with those situations there too. Otherwise, I can see it's more as being hospitable on that end there.
Like, let me show you how maybe.
But most, yeah, kinda like you
that
seen
and
what's
how
going
great I
on.
am, like how maybe you don't wanna mess with me, because with all these things I was able to get, I don't know, there's other ways you can look at it.
Well, I think
Yeah.
more this, the hospitable part, like you
Yeah.
kinda saw what Solomon did, and the point we're not looking at more, like these some
Friendly.
enemies that are coming trying to take over.
Right, yeah, at that point, he didn't look at him as an enemy, it's just like,
You said it must've been a nice scare.
yeah. yeah, I
But
do.
is the takeaway that we're not supposed to really share or disclose what we have to other people? Or, I mean, isn't it that probably like the thing, no matter what it is, like we supposed to be content and keep it to ourselves?
That's what I was gonna say, because you see, when you are showing all that, it's a show off. That's what it is right there. It's a show, yeah, they brought something.
It's a show off, and I think also too, it's different when it's like leaders, you know what I mean? Like, back then they were able to get conquered and all this stuff, and so you take it into your innermost chambers, you know, of all your wealth, that ain't really like, to me also, it
Yeah.
ain't art.
Kind of look at it like this, right? So this is a nation, this is a foreign nation, they come from a far place, right? And let's just say, for example,
Don't do that.
you show someone all your wealth, right? Here's my gold, here's my silver. I keep it, you know, in my house, in my closet. Things get tough. 5 years, 10 years, that person who you showed go through some hardship. 2 years ago, he showed me this and that, and I could break into his house, wait until you leave, you know, and so forth.
Yeah.
So you look at that kind of scenario, like you just never know, right? You never know. So.
And I see it too more that's showing what, cause again, like how you know who King Hezekiah was one that, like you saw where Sheka, he knew that Hezekiah served the Most High. Kinda like saw like again Queen of Sheba, showing how much the Most High is with, like, you know, they're showing, look, this is what's going on, and then that's what I'm seeing there, where he gave that present, he gave these things here, they're showing them, this is, you know, this is who I am, and this is what's coming back. Like I said, we know Hezekiah wasn't a wicked king.
Correct.
Okay, let's take this, maybe it's not the same thing, but let's take it this way. When Yeshua was born, they got visitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they brought presents. And you hear Mary said, okay, well, this is, I mean, you can do that. Right?
Right.
So, and then what happened was that, and remember this, that before they got to where Yeshua was, they met with the king over here, who said, okay, go, they go, come back to me and bring me word, I will say that I can go also. Okay, so if you see that, if you look at that scenario there, then you look at what Solomon did and what Hezekiah did. They are opposites, right? And we see the safety of that baby, Yeshua, when they didn't show up, when these other people left, you know, after they heard the angels gave them the dream, so they had to leave. We saw the safety. But we look at the life of King Solomon after showing all that, where did he end up? And then we look at this man now, King Hezekiah, after he showed this, then what happened? We see how that kingdom fell and his sons were taken captive, and everything that he showed was taken to Babylon. So these are I call it the contrast. They are opposite. So that's the lesson. That's the way I'm looking at the whole thing there.
Yeah, you got to see too also that when Solomon was king, and Israel was a nation that was all together, not divided, and they had that strength.
That's right.
And he had just got through paying tribute, taking everything out the temple, you know, paying that tribute. So it's like they're really not that strong of a nation right now, right? So, all right, so 2 Kings verse 20, we stopped off at 18?
17, yeah.
17, go ahead.
Verse 18. And of thy sons that shall issue from thee, which thou shalt beget, shall they take away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon.
All right, so what Isaiah's prophesying, right, is telling them that, hey, Babylon's going to come and take all that you just showed them. And then even your sons, they're going to take them too and make them eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. All right? Let's keep going. What's that? Skip down to verse 21.
Verse 21. And Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and Manasseh his son reigned in his stead.
All right, so Brother Jared did a teaching on this. What it means to sleep with your fathers. What does that mean? He died, right? All right. Okay. So now who became king? Manasseh. All right, I gotta listen about this guy right here. Manasseh. All right. Hezekiah was righteous, right? Before the Most High. We're gonna see what type of life did Manasseh have, right? All right. 2 Kings, chapter 21, verse 1.
Verse 1. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hephzibah.
All right. So he was 12 years old when he became king. Go ahead.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, after the abominations of the heathen, whom Yahuwah cast out before the children of Israel.
All right. So now Manasseh, he did that what was evil, right? So we're gonna see what evil things he did and what happened. Keep going. Verse 3.
For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal, and made a grove, and did Ahab king of Israel, as did King Ahab the king,
Right. That's it.
and worship all the host of heaven, and serve them.
So all this stuff Hezekiah destroyed, he put them right back up in the high places. All the idols, the host of heaven, they worship the sun, the moon, the stars, all of this, and they serve them. Keep going, verse 4.
And he built altars in the house of Yahuwah, of which
This guy, he built an altar inside the temple. All right, keep going.
of which Yahuwah said, in Jerusalem will I put my name.
Most High name is there. That's where he put his name, and he gonna put a foreign God idol where he said where the Most High put his name. Yeah. Keep going.
And he built altars for all the host of heaven in the two courts of the house of Yahuwah.
So in the courts, the host of heaven, he had an altar for the worship of the sun, an altar for the worship of the moon, an altar for the worship of the stars. He built all of that in the temple courts. Man, where he put his name, where the Most High put his name in. All right, keep going.
Verse 6. And he made his son pass through the fire, and observe times, and use enchantments.
What does that mean, pass through the fire? They sacrificed them. What God they use?
Moloch.
Right? Baal too. Right? Pass through the fire. Man, this guy's wicked. All right. Keep going.
And dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. And he wrought much wickedness in the sight of Yahuwah to provoke him to anger.
All right. Keep going, verse 7.
And he set a graven image of the grove that he had made in the house, of which Yahuwah said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever.
This is why the Most High says stay away from images, idols, anything made for man that you worship, you bow down to. He said, you saw no similitude. You saw no image of me, Mount Sinai. Don't create anything that represents me. All right, keep going.
Verse 8. Neither will I make the feet.
All right, let's skip down. Skip down to verse 10. Verse 10.
Verse 10.
All right.
And Yahuwah spake by his servants the prophets, saying, because Manasseh, king of Judah, had done these abominations, and had done wickedly above all that the Amorites did, which were before him, and had made Judah also to sin with his idols.
Just a quick question. This is for more of the Bible scholars. Why would he say he done wickedly above all that the Amorites did? Why would he just throw that in there?
Well, that's comparison. I mean, the people that were there before they inherited the land, you know, when they were going into the land, right? They were all cleared up, and they were the people that he said, do not do whatever they did. You know, that's the way I can understand it. So he's actually using their deeds, which they know, they have been told. What those people that were there in the land before, you know, they were all cleared up and then they settled. So he was saying that those people did abominable things, but what we did now is more than what those people did. Why? Because why was that? Because this was a chosen people that they already know everything about Yahuwah. Okay? But these people that were settled there, they had their, you know, they had their own gods and stuff like that. They worship. They don't have the knowledge of the true God that these people have.
Yeah, so I kind of look at it like a prophecy that had to be fulfilled for them getting expelled from the land. Because we know that when the Amorites reach a certain sin, the fulfillment, you know, they would be expelled from the land. So when the Amorites reach that fulfillment, it's kind of almost like this. Man, he did worse than that. Like when we go to Genesis chapter 15 real quick. Let's just go there. Genesis, keep your finger here. Genesis chapter 15. Give you just an example. Verse 13.
Genesis 15, verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs,
Right?
and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
Right, so right now the children are in a land that is not theirs. Keep going, verse 14.
And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge.
Right?
And afterward shall they come out with a great substance.
So they're going to come out. But go ahead.
Verse 15. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age.
Right, keep going.
But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again.
So what does that hither again mean?
Here.
Like again. What would he say hither again?
So this time they were in captivity, right?
Captivity.
They'll come back here again to.
They'll come back into captivity again.
And inherit this place.
Right. When, but when, we're going to see when will they come back into captivity again? With what? Until what?
Fourth generation.
Right, but keep reading.
Verse 16. But in the fourth,
No. Okay, yeah.
But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again.
Again, right? But when? For the what?
For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full.
So the Amorites, man, they're gonna reach a point to where the iniquity is gonna become full. So whatever point that is, they're gonna be kicked out the land, right? And he's saying here, he did worse than the Amorites. His iniquity.
About what Amorites did.
Sir, let's go back to Kings, 2 Kings chapter 22. You thought the Amorites' iniquity was bad? Manasseh did worse than that.
You want 21, right?
Yeah, 2 Kings chapter 21.
sir. I'll read it again.
All right.
Because Manasseh, king of Judah, had done these abominations, and had done wickedly above all that the Amorites did, which were before him, and had made Judah also sin with his idols.
Yeah. When he said made them, how do you think he made them? A decree, a law. This is what you got to do now. All right. Keep going.
Verse 12. Therefore, thus says Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whosoever heareth of it, both his ears shall tingle.
Yeah, man, the Most High, that they're like, man, what can you bring that's gonna, when you hear it, it's gonna make your ears just shake and tremble, tingle. All right, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 21. Verse 17. Let's go down to verse 17.
Verse 17. Now the rest of the acts of Manasseh, and all that he did, and his sin that he sinned, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles in the kings of Judah?
All right, so remember last week I told you they're basically almost parallel books, the Kings and the Chronicles, right? So you can also read about Manasseh in the Chronicles too also. There's a record of his iniquity. Verse 18.
And Manasseh slept with his fathers, and was buried in the garden of his own house, in the garden of Uzzah, and Ammon his son reigned in his stead.
All right, so now Manasseh's dead, all this wickedness, and now he has his son Ammon, right? And he reigned instead. All right, verse 19.
Ammon was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem.
All right, so he only became king for how long? 2 years. Remember, we're gonna figure out why he had a short kingship, right? 2 years. Go ahead.
And his mother's name was Meshullemeth, the daughter of Haruz of Jotbah.
All right, keep going.
Verse 20. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, as his father Manasseh did.
So he followed in Manasseh's footsteps, right? So we already know because of his sin, the Most High said he's going to bring an evil on them, right? Keep going.
And he walked in all the way that his father walked in, and served the idols that his father served, and worshipped them.
Keep going.
And he forsook Yahuwah Elohim of his fathers, and walked not in the way of Yahuwah.
He kept that same worship. Those idols that was in the temple, kept them there, worshiped them. Forced the people to do it too also. Keep going.
And the servants of Ammon conspired against him, and slew the king in his own house.
Hey, this guy Ammon was so wicked, right? How long did he reign? 2 years. His servants said, man, I had enough of this guy. What kind of person you have to be? Your servants in your own house conspired to kill you. Right? After 2 years of reign, this guy, oh man, I'm fed up with this guy. You know how we are, right? It's like, oh,
It must be like Nero.
man, this guy had to be right. He had to be, man. 2 years, like we conspired, they killed him. Keep going.
And the people of the land slew all them that had conspired against King Ammon.
So all those servants of his house that killed King Ammon, the people came and killed them, right? Keep going.
And the people of the land made Josiah his son king in his stead.
All right, now we're back to Josiah. Right, so he's king. So we talked about him last week, right? Keep going, verse 20.
25.
Well, I'll tell you what. So Josiah is king. Let's go to chapter 22, verse 1.
Also, Brother Mike,
Yeah.
say about made in the sin as well. It just when you put things there that cause people to sin, they kind of say that you made them sin as well. Kind of like you see, like you bow down to a Christmas tree, you put that image there. The children, because of your actions, you caused them, you made them to sin due to the point of the, so when he made them temple, he made all of it, and people was doing it, and them actions it became the norm. Kind of like Jeroboam
over
did.
time, the more and more people, the new generations come, then those people teach their children, and then it trickles all the way down, right? All right, 2 Kings chapter 22, verse 1. Josiah, King Josiah.
Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jedidah, the daughter of Adiah of Boscat.
Right.
Verse 2. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuwah, and walked in all the way of David his father, and turned not aside to the hand or to the left.
All right, so
Not aside to the right hand, sorry.
So you have Amon and Manasseh, who were both unrighteous. And then now Josiah comes into play, and he's righteous.
Manasseh repented though. Manasseh repented, he got over. That's in Chronicles. He did repent.
And then now comes Josiah, and he's doing all the right things, like Hezekiah did, right? Keep going.
Verse 3. And it came to pass in the 18th year of King Josiah that the king sent Shaphan, the son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, the scribe, to the house of Yahuwah, saying, Go up to Hilkiah, the high priest, that he may sum the silver which is brought into the house of Yahuwah, which the keepers of the door have gathered of the people.
All right, so he's telling them to bring all the silver that was given to the people gave to the house of the Lord, to the temple, right? Keep going. And gather it.
Verse 5. And let them deliver it into the hand of the doers of the work, that have the oversight of the house of Yahuwah, and let them give it to the doers of the work which is in the house of Yahuwah, right, to repair the breaches of the house.
All right, so they're getting all the silver, they're getting all the silver to repair. What happened to the temple where the silver was gone? Huh? What happened to all the silver and the gold in the temple where it was gone, where they had to repair it? I wasn't listening. Kings is a good book. It's a good book. All right. So what happened to the temple? We took all the gold and silver out the temple.
Hezekiah.
Why did he take all the silver in the temple, all the silver and the gold out the temple?
To give to Assyria.
The king of Assyria, he had to pay that what? Tribute.
Right.
So now he's repairing, fixing everything. The people gave, silver. Josiah said, take all that, gather it all together. Let's fix back up the temple. Because everything was, all the gold and silver were taken out. Right? All right. Let's keep going.
Verse 6. Unto carpenters and builders and masons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house. Howbeit there was no reckoning made with them of the money that was delivered into their hand, because they dealt faithfully.
All right, so now they're rebuilding the temple. Keep going.
And Hilkiah, the high priest, said unto Shaphan, the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of Yahuwah. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it.
All right, so they're doing all this work in the temple, right? All these carpenters, all these people, and guess what they find? Book of the law. So you got to think, you got to put yourself back then, right? They didn't have where everybody have a Bible in their house, right? So the book of the law was something that was read in the temple, right? And they're like, what is this? They weren't familiar. Why wouldn't they be familiar with it?
Because they have
time, they put their own idols in there, right? They put their own gods in there. That book was, man, put that book away. Up in that book will not be shown to no one, right? So they forgot. Remember, Brother Joe was saying, after generations of generations, right? Like we was talking about the Christmas tree. You know? I learned to do Christmas because my mom. Yeah, my mom learned it because my grandmother taught my mom. You know? And then it goes on, and then all of a sudden, you're doing this tradition, and the original book, they didn't read it. Forget about Jeremiah chapter 10, right? Until you read it, and you're like, oh man, we're not supposed to have this tree. So this is the same thing that's going on right now. All this wickedness that happened from one king to another, and then they find this book, and let's see what happened when they found it. Go ahead.
I have a question here.
Yep.
We see at the time of Hezekiah, right?
Right.
There are priests. One of them that was mentioned here, then is Hilkiah, right? I was wondering, why did they keep Sabbath?
They didn't keep Sabbath, none of that stuff, right? It was just, he said he made them. Like, all the laws, the Most High, you know.
It was the law, so they didn't challenge it, they just, as far as the king said, even though it is unrighteous.
Right. All right, go ahead.
Verse 9. And Shaphan the scribe came to the king, and brought the king word again, and said, Thy servants have gathered the money that was found in the house, and have delivered it into the hand of them that do the work, and have the oversight of the house of Yahuwah.
Right.
And Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest had delivered me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king.
All right, so now he got the book. This is the first time the king hears his book, right? Let's see what happens.
And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes.
Why do you think he rent his clothes?
He was angry.
He was angry.
About what happened before he came to the throne.
Right. All these idols, all this wickedness is going on. Man, the Most High must be angry. And you're looking at this stuff, you're like, man, all these judgments. So what do you think? Now that now that Josiah is hearing these things and written his clothes, what do you think? What would you think he would be thinking? How angry is the Most High?
That's right.
How do you find that out?
Because of his action.
How would you find out how angry the Most High is?
When he has to go to the throne.
Huh? The prophet. You guys are getting it now. All right. So the prophet, right? Because the prophet speaks what? What says? What does says the Most High, right? So if you want to inquire or something, you got what a prophet is. How angry is the Most High? All right, keep going.
Verse 11. And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes.
All right, keep going.
And the king commanded Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam the son of Shaphan, the Akbor the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Isaiah a servant of the king's, saying,
All right.
Go ye, inquire of Yahuwah for me.
So he said, go ye and inquire of Yahuwah. So who's he going to go to?
The prophet.
The prophet. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
And
I'll
for
make sure
the-
they're going to get this.
And
After
for
this,
the-
you guys going to love the book of Kings. All right, go ahead.
and for the people, and for all Judah
Right.
concerning the words of this book that is found.
All right.
For great is the wrath of Yahuwah that is kindled against us,
Okay, because of what?
because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book,
All right.
to do according unto all that which is written concerning us.
All right. So who were the kind of two wicked kings that we talked about?
Manasseh
Manasseh and
Amen.
Amen, right? All right, okay, keep going.
Verse 14. So Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, and Akbar, and Shaphan, and Isaiah went unto Huldah, the prophetess, the wife of Shallum.
So we have a woman that's a prophet, or a prophetess, right? So they went to her, go ahead.
The son of Tikvah, the son of Harhas, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they communed with her.
All right, so she went to the College of Jerusalem. University of Jerusalem. No. Oh, Brother Gerald College, all right. No, college was a certain place in the city, kind of like where
I thought it too.
all right, all right. Okay, come on, keep going. All right.
Verse 15. And she said unto them, Thus said Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, tell the man that sent you to me.
All right, keep going.
Thus said Yahuwah,
So this is what the Most High says, right? Keep going.
Behold, I will bring evil upon this place, and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the words of the book which the king of Judah had read.
So Josiah gets this book. He reads it. He's angry. And the next thing is to figure out how angry is the Most High of all the sin that we did. So they go to the prophetess, and he says anger is still kindled. Right? He said, I will bring evil upon this place. Right? Keep going, verse 17.
Because they have forsaken me, and have burned incense unto other mighty ones, that they might provoke me to anger with all the works of their hands.
Right?
Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place, and shall not be quenched.
Those are the words you don't want to hear. All right? And those are the words like, Josiah was angry. Oh, no, how angry the Most High is. He's still hot. Right? He said, I'll place my name here. And you put up altars inside this place, outside the place too. Keep going.
But to the king of Judah, which sent you to inquire of Yahuwah, thus shall ye say to him.
So this is the prophetess, right?
Yeah.
Now he's saying, this is what you should go back and tell the king. Right? Go ahead.
Thus said Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, as touching the words which thou hast heard, because thy heart was tender, and thou hast humbled thyself before Yahuwah, when thou hearest what I spake against this place, and against the inhabitants thereof, that they should become a desolation and a curse, and hast rent thy clothes and wept before me.
Right, so when he heard the truth, right, the Most High, like, I see your heart was humble. I saw you was angry just like I was angry. Right? Keep going.
I also have heard thee, said Yahuwah. Behold, therefore, I will gather thee unto thy fathers, and thou shalt be gathered into thy grave in peace.
So, what does it mean again to be gathered unto thy fathers? It's going to die. Is that a good thing? We're going to find out why it's going to be a good thing, right? So, because you did the right thing, you're going to die, right? I'm going to make it sure that you die first. Keep going.
And thy eyes shall not see all the evil which I will bring upon this place. And they brought the king word again.
All right. So you remember what Manasseh did? Right? He said, I will bring a great evil. Your ears is going to tingle when you hear it, right? And he's saying that, you know what, because you did the right thing, I'm not even going to let you see this evil that I'm going to bring upon this place. All right? No. Their sin was greater than the Amorites. You definitely didn't change his mind, right?
Yeah, because
All right.
The only thing we need to assess, well, we are not going to see what I'm going to do.
Right.
That's the only way that we best to do what from the
Right. It's almost like he's saying, man, I understand that King Josiah, you're trying to do the right thing, but there's nothing you really can do to stop my anger.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing you can do that's gonna stop me from bringing the wrath against.
So, you know,
Right.
listen here, so, you know, point that people will just harden their heart and then you have, you know, no change of heart.
Right.
Or repent. And even if there's something that happens, some people repent, and then God already said, I'm going to do this.
Correct. Right. So there's some people that do repent, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to Isaiah chapter 57. Keep your place right there. Isaiah chapter 57, and read verse 1 and 2.
Isaiah chapter 57.
Isaiah chapter 57, verse 1 and 2. We're gonna support what Brother Gabriel is talking about, like things that can happen today.
Okay, book of Isaiah, chapter 57, verse 1.
Yeah.
The righteous perish, and no man lay it to heart, and merciful men are taken away.
Right. He said, "No man lay it to heart." I mean, nobody even considered that the righteous perish early. Right. Keep going.
And merciful men are taken away.
And merciful men are taken away. Keep going, verse 2.
None considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come.
Nobody considered that people die early. The righteous may die early, so they wouldn't see the evil to come.
Mm.
Right? So we see that Josiah, he's gonna die early, so that he don't see that evil to come.
Verse 2.
Oh, verse 2, go ahead.
He shall enter into peace.
Right?
They shall rest in their beds, each one walking in his uprightness.
See? So it's something to consider. All right. Let's go back to 2 Kings. Let's go to chapter 23. 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 1.
Verse 1. And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and of Jerusalem.
Right?
And the king went up into the house of Yahuwah, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant, which was found in the house of Yahuwah.
So Josiah gathered all the people, right? And then read the book of the law to all the individuals. It's almost like the book of Ezra when you read that, right? Same scenario. They found a book, read it in front of all the people. Same thing here, Josiah. Keep going.
Verse 3. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before Yahuwah, and walked after Yahuwah, and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book.
So it says the king stood by the pillar and made a covenant, right? I'm like the children of Israel. All that you say, you will do, right? Keep going.
And all the people stood to the covenant.
He said they're going to do. Let's go down to verse 5.
And he put down idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in high places.
So what is that ordained? I mean, he made a law, right? The king of Judah made a law that you burn these things, right? Keep going.
In the cities of Judah, and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burn incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven.
When it talks about those planets, it's talking about constellation stars. I like Mercury, Venus. All right, keep going.
And he brought out the grove from the house of Yahuwah, without Jerusalem, unto the brook of Kidron, and burn it at the brook of Kidron, and stamp it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people.
Yeah. Keep going. Verse 7.
And he brake down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of Yahuwah, where the women wove hangings for the grove.
Man, you got the temple.
LGBT community.
You got a house, sodomites, male prostitutes, right there by the temple. Man. So he's cleaning up all this stuff, right? He's cleaning up all this. Yeah. That's why his anger is still kindled. All right, keep going, verse 8.
And he brought all the priests out of the cities of Judah.
Let's get down to verse 21. Verse 21. Let's get down to verse 21.
Verse 21. And the king commanded all the people, saying, keep the Passover unto Yahuwah your Elohim, as it is written in the book of this covenant.
Right.
Surely there was not holden such a Passover from the days of the judges that judged Israel, nor in all the days of the kings of Israel.
So he's saying there has not been a Passover like this since the days of the judges. All right, keep going.
Nor of the kings of Judah.
Right.
But in the 18th year of King Josiah, wherein this Passover was holden to Yahuwah in Jerusalem.
All right. Verse 24.
Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits, and the wizards, and the images, and the idols, and all the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem, did Josiah put away, that he might perform the words of the law, which are written in the book that Hilkiah the priest found in the house of Yahuwah.
So you see Josiah, as he read the book, it was changing. As he read the book, get rid of that. Kill them. Do this. He lined Israel up with the book. Right? Keep going.
So this thing that is called familiar spirit, what is it? I know that there was an example about the time of Saul and Samuel. And Saul went to visit the witch of Endor, right?
Right.
And the familiar spirit was brought up by the witch of Endor.
Yeah, so you know, like we do all this. Well, you look at all this stuff, man. This stuff is happening today, right? You got these palm readers, you got these fortune tellers, you got these people who can conjure up ancestors from the dead. Ask Aunt Clara where she hid the gold in the backyard. We can't find it. You know, when she died. You know, all familiar spirits, things like that. All right. So this is what it's talking about.
Yeah, these things, they're actually evil spirits.
They're not evil spirits.
They're actually evil spirits. They are not like, because people who go and say, bring up their dead ones. It's not really their dead ones that come up. I know that from the culture I grew up, things like that are there. They do go and do things like that.
All right.
But it is not,
So almost like, you ever watched that movie a long time ago called, I think it was called Ghost? Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
And then this lady was Whoopi Goldberg speaking as if she was taking over, people like that.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, we don't know if it's demons, person, whatever. We just know the commandment says stay away from this stuff.
But I know that
Right.
they are demons. I mean,
They're demons.
they are demons.
Okay, well, we stop off at 24. Let's start with 24. Oh, no, that's familiar spirits, right? What do we leave off at? 26? Let's go to 26.
Yeah, I don't think we read.
25.
Yeah, you read 25.
Yeah, let's skip to 26.
Okay. Verse 26. Notwithstanding, Yahuwah turned not from the fierceness of his great wrath, wherewith his anger was kindled against Judah, because of all the provocations that Manasseh had provoked him withal.
So all these things that Josiah did, right? It still did not offset the Most High anger. He's still bringing up what happened with Manasseh, right? Keep going.
Verse 27. And Yahuwah said, I will remove Judah also out of my sight, as I have removed Israel, and will cast off this city, Jerusalem, which I have chosen.
So he's gonna expel Judah off the land, right? Just like I did Israel, the northern tribe. Keep going. No, let's skip down verse 29.
Verse 29. In his days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates.
All right, so now there's a war between Assyria and Egypt, right? Keep going.
And King Josiah went against him, and he slew him at Megiddo, when he had seen him. And his servants carried him in a chariot dead from Megiddo, and brought him to Jerusalem.
All right, so this is the prophecy that he said that before this evil come upon Judah, Josiah, you're gonna sleep with your fathers so that you don't see this. And this is how he was killed. He went up against them when they were warned, and he got slew. Verse 30.
Keep going.
Oh, go ahead.
And buried him in his own sepulchre. And the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and anointed him, and made him king in his father's stead.
So now Josiah is dead, and Jehoahaz is now the king. All right, keep going, verse 31.
Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamutal.
All right, so Jehoahaz was 23 when he reigned. Josiah died at age 39. So he had Jehoahaz at what age?
Wow.
What, 16? 16 years old. All right, keep going.
The daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah, verse 32. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, according to all that his fathers have done.
Man, why you didn't keep up the track record with Josiah?
Yeah, but you know.
You gotta think. I just think like, right, so, today's society, you raise up your children how, righteous way, and how they can easily veer off. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 33. And Pharaoh Necho put him in bands at Riblah in the land of Haman, that he might not reign in Jerusalem, and put the land to a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold.
All right. So Syria and Egypt is going to war. Right? Josiah gets involved, he dies. So now who's running things? Egypt. So Egypt wins the war. Right? So now they're running things, and guess what? Judah got to pay tribute now. We're the nation in control. Egypt is. Now, what's that tribute represent?
Shows that they have been conquered, and then they are subjected.
They're subject underneath that nation that's ruling, right?
That's right.
You don't want us to bring war against you? Pay that tribute. Right? Just like the mafia. Pay that tribute. Right? Let's see what makes them wicked. Let's find out what makes them wicked. Keep going. Read verse 34 one more time.
And Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, the son of Josiah, king, in the room of Josiah his father, and turned his name to Jehoiakim, and took Jehoahaz away, and he came to Egypt, and he died there.
All right, keep going.
Verse 35. And Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land to give the money according to the commandment of Pharaoh.
So he didn't take, so like, not like Hezekiah, he took the gold and silver from where? The temple. He didn't take it from the temple, he took it from who?
The people.
The people. Bring your gold and silver. Pharaoh needs it, Egypt needs it, all right? Through taxation, keep going.
He exacted the silver and the gold of the people of the land, and everyone according to his taxation, to give it unto Pharaoh and Necho.
All right. Verse 36.
Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Zebudah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Rumah.
Okay. Verse 37.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, according to all that his fathers had done.
What has his fathers done again?
Transgressed against the law.
And the idols brought that stuff right back up. Yeah.
So does that mean they're kind of technically back under Egypt?
Yeah, so they're under Egypt now. Yeah.
So when they said I'm gonna send you away on ships back to Egypt.
But they didn't go. They still stayed in the land.
No, I'm
Judah.
just saying where
Yeah.
that prophecy come, well, I hear
Yeah.
they say that towards future the children of Israel and whatnot. But can the whole them being back in Egypt be attributed to that prophecy?
No, it's just that they still are They're just still under that nation's control, right? They just under that nation's control. They didn't leave the land, but Judah is still kind of holding on to the land for right now, but they're on shaky ground, so we know. So what countries came up against them so far? What nations?
Syria.
Syria?
Babylon?
No, well, not really Babylon.
Oh,
Babylon just came and gave presents, goodwill card, Hezekiah.
for now.
You know, for
For
right
now.
now, they're in the background, but now, who's in control, who are the nation?
Egypt.
Now, he said, you pay tribute now, Israel, right? All right. But we know according to the prophecy, what's gonna happen? Isaiah told Hezekiah, because you did this, keep that in the back of your mind, right? Right?
And this is all in northern tribes stuff?
No, southern tribe, Judah.
Oh, it did say Judah, that's
Right, this is southern. The northern tribe is gone. They're gone.
But
Now-
they're Syrians though, right?
Yeah, by the Assyrians. But the Assyrians did come and try to,
Oh, they
that's why I
came
want
back.
to say they didn't go away.
Okay.
Because I used to question, okay, how did they just take that tribe? But they also was under control and tried to take them too also. So if King Assyria wouldn't have messed up, talking about who's going to deliver you from our enemies, once I heard that, like, oh, I'll show you who I am. All right.
Mike,
Yep.
Egypt is one of the countries that took them over? Like over Judah? I guess when I'm thinking of captivity, is this piece right here saying that Egypt?
No, they're not. So captivity just means exile from the land. So they're not exiled from the land yet. They're just underneath the control of the nation. They got their king set up, but there's a nation that's ruling everything.
Oh, okay.
So they're ruling for dominance.
Okay.
And so
No, I was
forth.
thinking about the whole pyramid thing.
Assyria was dominating. They went to war with
Okay.
Egypt. Egypt now dominates. Now guess what? Every country we have controllership with, we pay tribute. Now, Judah has to pay tribute to Egypt, and before they paid tribute to Assyria.
Until Babylon comes, right?
Well, yeah. So Babylon they're still friends with. No, they think they're friends with
Okay.
But now.
But now,
right now. Right.
it's like a soap opera.
I know.
They brought cars, they brought gifts. We're allies.
So, one more thing, do you think that's why he let Josiah die sweet like and peacefully, because he knew still the generation after Josiah was gonna go back
Josiah just, when he read the book, he humbled himself right before the Most High. The Most High called it out. Because you did this and you did that, and you were angry, you humble yourself, I'm not gonna allow you to see this evil. So that means like when he died, they should be expecting the evil to come. Any other questions? And it's good, I like you guys keeping up with the names and so forth, right? All right. Okay, so that was verse.
I got a question, Mike.
Oh, sorry.
So, because of Manasseh, all this evil came on him.
Not yet. But
Or
it's about to.
is not okay.
They're just paying tribute to Egypt right now.
And I guess, okay, so my question really is there a way that if it was ordained in this case, or if it was stated, can the evil not come? Like, could they have prayed, or could they have done anything right to not make it happen?
That's what we had read before, right? So we had read that even though he read the book in front of the whole tribe, or the southern tribe, he changed, he got rid of things, they started following the book. They even, what?
His fierceness.
Right, but they even made a covenant back with the Most High. And he's still angry. It's like, you did a good thing, but that stuff with Manasseh, man, that's not gonna fix it. All right?
Because it was worse than the Amorite.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. You guys are getting it. Like a quiz at the end, and you pass out a test.
But it doesn't say exactly what it was that he did that was worse than the Amorites.
Yeah, he did. All the stuff they listed, the groves, the altars inside the place where he put his name at, outside the place, they put idols for the sun, the moon, stars, every high place, they put an idol. They even had a sodomite house next to the temple. All of that. He said they did worse.
But the other kings did bad stuff like that too, right? I mean, that wasn't the first time.
But this was greater than the Amorites.
Oh, okay.
Between two, might let you go, but
Go ahead.
because it's gonna be kind of tying into like what you're saying at the end.
No, the Joachim, the current king, took him back.
Yes.
Okay, so,
Right.
the father already knew that was gonna happen, so.
That's what I was saying. Maybe that's why.
So not only was he mad about Manasseh, he understood what,
Future.
the other king did, and why he decided to say, hey, you're not gonna see what I'm getting ready to do.
Correct.
I'm gonna, I understood what you tried to do. But there's one that's gonna come after you.
Right,
That's
gonna
gonna
go back. Exactly.
also gonna bring these people back to discrediting my law. So I gotta get rid of it.
Yeah. All right. When we stopped at verse 36?
We read 37.
37? So let's look at Jeremiah. So Jeremiah was also a prophet around the time when Joachim was king. Right? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 22. And we'll pick it up at verse 15.
All right, Jeremiah 22, verse 15. Shalt thou reign because thou close thyself in cedar? Did not thy father eat and drink and do judgment and justice? And then it was well with him.
So he's talking about, Jeremiah is talking about Josiah, right? King Josiah, remember, he walked upright, right? Keep going.
He judged the cause of the poor and needy. Then it was well with him. And was not this to know me? Said Yahuwah.
Said Yahuwah. Keep going, verse 17.
But thy eyes and thy heart are not but for thy covetousness, and for to shed innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence.
So he's talking about Joachim, right? He's saying your eyes right now is for covenants, for your own envy, right? To shed innocent blood, to oppress the people, and doing it by violence. Right? Keep going, verse 18.
To do it. Verse 18. Therefore, thus said Yahuwah concerning Jehoiakim.
Remember Jehoiakim, right? This is what he's saying with Jehoiakim, right? Go ahead. We were just reading Kings,
The son of Josiah, king of Judah.
right?
They shall not lament for him, saying,
What? Who was Jehoiakim's dad?
Josiah.
Yeah.
Jehovah.
Okay, go ahead.
Ah, my brother, or ah, sister, they shall not lament for him, saying, ah, sovereign, or ah, his glory. He shall be buried with the burial of a donkey,
Wow.
drawn and cast forth beyond the gates of Jerusalem.
Right? This is what he prophesied about Jehoiakim, right? Keep going.
But this guy was the one that the Egyptian Pharaoh made king now.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Go up to Lebanon and cry and lift up.
Okay, I'm sorry. So basically, this is the prophecy of Jehoiakim, right? And we're gonna see a little bit more why he was so wicked, why this prophecy was given, right? He says that Josiah, that they shall not lament for him, right? What does it mean to lament? Cry to wail over him, right?
Warn him, actually.
All right, we're gonna see why. Let's go back to 2 Kings. We almost finished. 2 Kings chapter 24. Chapter 24. Pick it up at verse 1.
All right, 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 1. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him.
So now, you got the king of Babylon in play now, right? So they're in charge, and now the king Jehoiakim is his servant for how many years? 3 years. And then he did what?
Rebelled.
He rebelled against him. All right, verse 2.
And Yahuwah sent against him bands of the Chaldees, and bands of the Syrians, and bands of the Moabites, and bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to destroy it, according to the word of Yahuwah, which he spake by his servants, the prophets.
All right, so when he rebelled against Nebuchadnezzar, the Most High sent these nations, right? All against him, right? Keep going, verse 3.
Surely at the commandment of Yahuwah came this upon Judah, to remove them out of his sight, for the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did.
So it's making sense now? So we're moving all the way from Manasseh. The Most High still haven't forgot, right?
I was saying this was gonna be the answer for those questions.
Yeah. Right. So you see that? He still didn't forget about those sins that he committed.
Answer must have been a bad boy.
Really?
Now, he gonna take that. Keep going.
All right, so let's go. Keep going. Let's go to come down to verse 6.
No. Read the answer.
The answer.
Read the
Oh,
next verse.
where we at? Verse what?
You in verse 3, read
Verse 3?
4.
All right, keep going.
Verse 4. And also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, which Yahuwah would not pardon.
That's why he didn't, because he shed that innocent blood. He wasn't gonna pardon that right there. So all that other stuff they doing them sacrifice to busy, when he started shedding that innocent blood like
Of
that.
his people.
The babies and doing those things there, he said he's not gonna pardon that. He wasn't gonna pardon them.
Okay, so the evil that other people did, they weren't shedding blood of the people within
Yeah,
it.
some of them were but they did bid them high places, worship another.
Yeah.
But what he did, when Manasseh, you gotta realize how long was he reigning? Manasseh started at 12.
Right.
He reigned for 55 years. He reigned longer than any king there. And so that's why he said, I couldn't pardon what Manasseh did with the shit that innocent blood. I'm sorry, man.
I'm confused.
And then when?
Jehoiakim, if he was king, why was he
what was he serving under Nebuchadnezzar?
Yeah, is this where,
Because now they're ruling. Babylon is ruling.
I thought it was.
That was my question.
That it was. So
Oh,
they,
we're in a
they,
different
they
one.
destroyed Egypt, now Babylon is ruling.
Oh, did this one jump, like, from chapter to?
Yeah.
I wanted to follow the timeline, I liking it, right?
It's like something, I was like the same thing, so when did Egypt
So
come?
it jumped.
Right, so yeah, so now Babylon is in control,
Okay.
you know, so, when Nebuchadnezzar came on the scene, I don't think there was no nation, you know, close to Nebuchadnezzar. He was like the king.
But they didn't have no scribe, no reporter to write that one sentence down for us here, so we just.
That's good, y'all paying attention, man.
We don't have a reporter, somebody's supposed to write that down.
Alright, so yeah, so Babylon's in control right now. Alright, go ahead. We was talking verse 5.
Verse 4, I'll read verse 5.
Okay.
Verse 5. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and all that he did, they are not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah.
Right, so remember, Kings and Chronicles are parallel books. So read it there. Same events. Keep going.
Verse 6. So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiachin, his son, reigned in his stead.
Right?
And the king of Egypt came not again any more out of his land.
Right?
For the king of Babylon had taken from the river of Egypt unto the river Euphrates all that pertained to the king of Egypt.
All right, so now
Got it.
Egypt's not in control no more. Babylon is now in control of Egypt. And we have to pay tribute to Babylon.
Scribe should have
Right.
that first.
Right?
Verse 8.
Did it every other time.
Verse 8. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. And his mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem.
All right, keep going.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah.
Yeah, they're like, how many kings is going to continue to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep going.
According to all that his father had done.
All right.
At that time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged.
All right, so now we're getting, remember the beginning, right? The prophecy that was made? Remember Hezekiah? He showed those Babylonian men everything, right? And what were the two things that Isaiah said would happen? Everything will be taken. Taken, and then what? Units, right? Let's find out. Let's see if this happened. We're having a fulfillment of it, right? Keep going. So, verse 10 one more time.
Verse 10.
All right.
At that time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against Jerusalem,
Right.
and the city was besieged.
They took it over. Go ahead.
And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against the city, and his servants did besiege it.
Right. They did it.
And Jehoiachin, the king of Judah, went out to the kings of Babylon, he and his mother, and his servants, and his princes, and his officers. And the king of Babylon took him in the 8th year of his reign.
Okay. Verse 13.
And he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of Yahuwah, and the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Solomon king of Israel had made in the temple of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah had said.
All right, so the first prophecy is being fulfilled, right? When Hezekiah showed all, he's like, Isaiah, what did you show him? I showed him everything, right? All right, it's going to be taken. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And he carried away all Jerusalem, and all the princes, and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land.
He said none remain, right? He took them all. Go, let's see where he took them. Go ahead.
And he carried away Jehoiachin to Babylon.
Right?
And the king's mother, and the king's wives, and his officers, and the mighty of the land. Those carried he into captivity from Jerusalem to Babylon.
All right, so Jehoiakim, which we know was a son of who?
Jehoiakim.
The son of the prophecy, the son of Hezekiah, right? Remember that, the prophecy? Your sons will be taken. All right, keep going, verse 16.
And all the men of might, even 7,000, and craftsmen and smiths, 1,000. All that were strong and apt for war, even them the king of Babylon brought captive to Babylon.
All right. And we see here, so we'll stop with that one. So we see here from the beginning of the prophecy, from the wickedness of the king, all of this was fulfilled, right? And you see how it all came to play together. Every wickedness of every king, everything that the king has done has consequences, right? So when we look at the book of Kings, hopefully this all should make sense. And hopefully making you guys want to read more of the book of Kings and see how this
Yeah.
stuff, you know. work
I have a
together.
question.
Yeah.
On
Go ahead.
verse 14, where it says, number name of the save the poorest sort of the people of the land. When they say save, were they kept? Did they leave the poor people in the land and only took the people? So people were left in the land of us, but just the poor and the ones that didn't have talent or no skills.
Save we can read that. We can go back and read verse 14 again.
Verse 14. And he carried away all Jerusalem,
Right?
and all the princes,
Right?
and all the mighty men of valor,
Right?
even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land.
So just the poorest sort.
So they did save those people. The poorest people
They,
were
they,
saved
they were
and left
allowed
in
to
the
still
land.
stay there.
They did stay there.
Right.
Except, just you can use that word, except these people.
Correct,
Like
correct.
those people that are left are no value of, for him, that's why he left them behind.
Right.
The rest are just, what we need.
Correct. So now when you use the word captivity, they're exiled from the land. So now they're underneath the Babylonian control as servants.
I think it was in somewhere, maybe in Jeremiah, I think those people that were left behind, hunger, come left and just, finish them out. I think so. There was a place I was reading something like that, that those that were left.
I'm not sure. I don't
You know,
know.
that was left in the land, then they came a second time. Then that's when you saw the other ones, like Daniel, when they came. But those he left in the land, when Nebuchadnezzar put Gedaliah, he put Gedaliah to be governor over there. And that's when you saw, when you read Jeremiah 44, when it said about, they were asking Jeremiah to pray for us, because that's when Ishmael, another group came and started slaughtering them. So they put Gedaliah, killed Gedaliah, the governor. They got scared that Nebuchadnezzar gonna come and kill them, because Gedaliah got murdered by another group. That's the one that went to, that's who Korea and all that led to Egypt in that time. He took the king Zedekiah's daughters, and that's when they fled to Egypt.
So the Cliff Note version, at the end of the day, nobody was left, not even the ones, the poor people. They weren't even really left in the land.
At the end of them, they took, they got carried off with Jeremiah, and they got carried off to Egypt.
Carry off Egypt, got it.
And Barak, his scribe.
You might have to do part two stuff.
Well, I wanna, go ahead,
Oh, no, I'm actually finished.
You finished, I wanna see, there may be another, but like you said about this, what you saw where Manasseh, who started at 12, and he reigned for 55 years, to let you know Manasseh lived to be 67 years old, right? But the last part of his life, which was awesome, even though all that time what he did, like I say, he shed all that innocent blood, but Moses said he's not gonna pardon. But I don't want to show where I'll tell you when Manasseh repented. And it showed the repentance, even though he repented, the action, like what I was saying, the consequences still didn't go away. And you can read about it, repent, like I said, these parallel books. But you can read, I don't know, you want to read about repentance, we can do that. But that's in Second Chronicles, chapter 33. And you can read about the repentance of Manasseh, and this kind of fulfilled what Brother Mike said with Isaiah. What Isaiah told told Hezekiah, sons that you beget, they're gonna be carried to Babylon. So Nebuchadnezzar actually took Manasseh. They took him to Babylon as well, and that's where he repented when they afflicted him. But this is Numbers Second Chronicles chapter 33, and can you pick it up at verse when you get there? But it's a beautiful thing, and we got the prayer of Manasseh also in Apocrypha.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. I see the prayer of Manasseh in Apocrypha. I think we read that on the Tuesday night.
Probably like 22.
But start at verse where you see about him, what all he did, and it's kind of long, but it just showed his heart and what happened to Manasseh when Assyria took him to Babylon as well. But you can start at verse 9 and read on down.
Yes, sir. All right, Second Chronicles chapter 33, verse 9. So Manasseh made Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to err and to do worse than the heathen, whom Yahuwah had destroyed before the children of Israel. And Yahuwah spake to Manasseh and to his people, but they would not hearken. Wherefore Yahuwah brought upon them the captains of the host of the king of Assyria, which took Manasseh among the thorns, and bound him with fetters, and carried him to Babylon.
So that was the Syria that they got him to carry, like the prophecy with Isaiah said what happened to those that you beget. And that's what happened. That was just the son of Hezekiah. And he got carried to Babylon. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And when he was in affliction, he besought Yahuwah his Elohim, and humbled himself greatly before the Elohim of his fathers, and prayed unto him, and he was entreated of him, and heard his supplication, and brought him again to Jerusalem and to his kingdom. Then Manasseh knew that Yahuwah, he was Elohim.
So look at the patience, look the grace the Most High show him. He took him from Babylon and put him back to Jerusalem. And now watch how Manasseh act now after he got taken back.
Now after this, he built a wall without the city of David, on the west side of Gihon, in the valley, even to the entering in at the fish gate, and compassed about Ophel, and raised it up a very great height, and put captains of war in all the fenced cities of Judah. Verse 15. And he took away the strange mighty ones, and the idol out of the house of Yahuwah, and all the altars that he had built in the mount of the house of Yahuwah, and in Jerusalem, and cast them out of the city. And he repaired the altar of Yahuwah, and sacrificed their own peace offerings and thank offerings, and commanded Judah to serve Yahuwah Elohim of Israel. Nevertheless, the people did sacrifice still in the high places, yet unto Yahuwah their Elohim only. Now the rest of the acts of Manasseh, and his prayer unto his Elohim, and the words of the seers that he spake to him in the name of Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel.
And then you can close it in verse 19.
His prayer also, how Elohim was entreated of him, and all his sin and his trespasses, and the places wherein he built high places, and set up groves and graven images before he was humbled. Behold, they are written among the sayings of the seers.
I just want to show how, he repented, and he started following more at the end of his life. He got brought back from Babylon and placed back in his kingship.
Something that is similar to, he repented, and yet the consequence of his sin was, the consequence of his sin was his death.
Shed too much innocent blood.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
on the entire Israel, correct?
Correct. Right.
And it happened after Josiah. Was it after Josiah?
You said because of Josiah? No, it happened before Josiah.
So who's the son of Manasseh?
It was the son of Manasseh? Amon.
Huh?
Amon.
Amon, and then
Right.
Josiah?
Correct.
Okay, so the punishment didn't come at the time of Amon, or was
No, it was basically his father. But he just did that with, Amon did that with evil also. So he followed in his father's footsteps. But he's saying that the sin of Manasseh, man, is even higher than the Amorites. That is something he just can't forgive. He's just like, no matter what you do, my anger still kindles. Right.
It's towards Israel. So even though Manasseh passed, and he was the one that set up all these idols, high places, and groves to worship and bow down to other elders and shedding his innocent blood. Well, the people partook.
Right.
So that's why the punishment.
Yeah, because he wasn't the only one that brought his, kids to be sacrificed by fire, brought up to Moloch. Right? For 55, like you were saying, 55 years, probably other people were doing the same thing too. He said they followed in his footsteps, right? Whatever he did, they did too.
No, he was just the head, the one else leading the king.
And then you see also the Mosiah said, you put these things where I put my name at, my name is here. It's like, I can't forget that.
So I have another question. So, Israel now in the land of the captivity, not a nation, not in the land. Is it more of like, the sins that you do is on your head? You teach your children it's on their head, not like what has gone down in not as a whole. One Israelite doing this over here, I'm gonna punish the whole.
No, because the Messiah came into place now, right? So it's based on our belief in the Messiah. So it's individual, so to speak, not like as a whole. Because you had a king, you had a nation, you had people that followed him. Here, it's more, we don't have a king, we're not a nation, we divided, and then it has to do our belief in the Messiah.
It's an individual thing too. It's individually too.
Correct.
Because we see that the nation of Israel, the nation of Israel was the nation that Yahweh picked to, evangelize the whole world, but they did not do it as a nation, but they are individuals, who came.
You know what's funny? It's like I see like in the 17 when you was reading in Chronicles that the people sacrifice, but they sacrifice at the high place, but yet unto the Lord their God only.
Which was against the law too.
Yeah, so like I think if I'm understanding that right, even if Manasseh was trying to do the right thing and restore and trying to turn back, they when they turned back to try to do right, they were still doing wrong in their rightness. Aiming to still serve or pray to Yah, but you playing to him against a high place, which is not what he wanted you to do.
Right.
But they were trying to do right.
Yeah,
but we still was wrong
so
because
he humbled himself and did the right thing, but the people didn't. They still kept their sacrifice in the high places, even though they did it in the name of the Most High. It's still against the commandments, right?
Like Christmas is great.
Okay, what was the commandment?
Sacrifices only be done by a priest in the temple in Jerusalem. They did it into the high places. Huh? Yeah, kind of like mountaintop. That's what they said it when they talk about high places, mountains, so people can see them. Right, all the hills.
They made altars of brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the interesting thing. Like you said, we have the Bible. We can go read and try to understand that. But if they didn't have, all they had was looking at each other, I guess, or hear what the king say, and try to go back and do right based off of what they see and what they hear. But
they have prophets
Because
too.
it looks like a lot of
But it seems like
The
they
prophets
feel.
come and thus says, like you read about when it said that Yah spoke to Manasseh and his people, and through the prophets, but he refused to not listen to him. He didn't repent from that. So they still had thus says Yeah, the
So they
problem
did
with
get the
North-
chance
yeah.
to hear and understand.
Cause it looked like a lot of it was because of what the king did, like, okay, the king did this against God.
Right,
And
right.
then, you know,
Yeah,
it seemed like.
because you saw how we
the
say,
whole
wait, they
city.
put decrees, you know, and so forth.
Mhm.
So he put laws and.
So if he was doing, everybody, his people was doing it too.
Forcing them, right, that's it.
That's a lot to learn in the book of Kings. Praise yeah for the lesson we have learned today. You know, because there's a lot that were exposed here, and I hope each individual that heard it today will pick something out of it. So we hear about the words. Let me point a little bit, then we pray. We hear about the words. So I'm just pointing to the emissary of the king of Assyria to the people of Israel, people of Judah. We know that everything we speak, God hears. And that would also remind us that before we start talking or open our mouth and talk about anything, we realize that even if we think that nobody's listening, Yahweh is listening. He knows about it. So that's a big lesson there for me. Then we hear about the outspoken word of the emissary. We can see the pride in it and stuff like that, and how our Heavenly Father was blasphemed because they think that they conquered so many nations, and then the 10 tribes of Israel was conquered by them. So they are using all their conquest to demean our Heavenly Father, not even knowing that what they are, some of the things they did, example is the 10 tribes they conquered. At the hands of Yahuwah was there. Why? Because these people, the 10 tribes, they left to worship the Most High God and worshiped other gods. And then the reason that they took, okay, let me put it this way. They left God and worshiped something else. Okay, we can see that when they were brought back from Egypt, God had prophets with them, which Samuel was the last one before King Saul was crowned, right? And what was that? It was the demand of the people. And God gave them their wish. So God gave them their wish. And we see from Saul to Manasseh, right? And his sons. We see how they carried their assignment as kings. We see how that happened. So I am picking out a lesson there that when we have a position of any sort, we will be mindful of why we are in that position first and not let our pride get in the way. So we will always be humble about whatever position we have. We have a position to serve. We serve with humility. If we have a position to lead, that calls for more humility, because we see what the leaders did. The kings, they are the leader, and we see the people they led. We see how a king made people sin because he made decrees and stuff like that. So there's a lot here there's a lot to learn about the kings. So, and from my understanding about why God still stood on his anger about what Manasseh did. Yeah, first of all, Brother Gerald said, he said something about how long that went on. Even though he repented, there was a grave consequence. And we know that God himself, if we go to Psalm 15 verse 4, say God, he is a merciful God. He is. But at the same time, God has integrity. We see when he spoke through the prophecy, the fulfillment of whatever he speaks takes place. So he wouldn't go back, he said his word will not do what? Will not go unfulfilled. And so when that went out, when he said, this is going to happen, that happens, and we see that here in the lesson today. The lesson that we have to learn is not only that this is a longer time that Manasseh went on with his misleadership and then the way he made people sin and stuff like that. There's blood in his hand. There's blood in his hand. And we can draw a parallel there with the sin of David. David was forgiven, right? Was forgiven when he sinned, right? But that child that that was conceived during that time, we know that child died just because of that. And so that's who our Heavenly Father is. He's a forgiving God, but at the same time, God that has justice in his hand. So he must fulfill all those roles. Praise God. So with this little here and there, there's a lot, but I don't want to continue to say because we have had had a long time here. But for me, I would say let's stay until the sun goes down. I don't know about other people. So with that, let us pray. And let's go to Jerusalem.
You got a nice praise, John?
Yeah, we have come to you this afternoon, and we thank you for the week that was past and that has come to an end today. We thank you for how you have protected us and provided for us, and how you have led us. We thank you for that. And we thank you for the message that we have received. I will thank you for the vessel that you used to bring us the message and continue to strengthen him. And as we heard the message, there's a lot of learning in it. And I'm praying this afternoon that everything that we learned be deep rooted in our hearts so that we will be serving you and following you in humility. Yeah, I pray for forgiveness of sins, that anywhere we have come short, I pray this evening, Heavenly Father, because you are merciful and gracious. And that's why you give us your only begotten Son, Yeshua. That through his sacrifice and blood that was shed for us, we'll be redeemed as we believe. So I pray this evening for you to forgive us, sanctify us, make us that vessel that is worthy of being used in your service, Heavenly Father, I pray. pray for all the people that are in the household of God, the believers around the world, and most especially the believers here in the locality, and the believers who gather here this evening. I pray for your protection over us. Pray for your power to be with us always. Protect us against all, from all dangers. And give us the boldness to stand up and spread the word that Christ is coming, Yeshua is coming. That we have to make our lives right with him. That message of repentance that has been of old. That is the same message that is here today. That we have to go and share that message and repent. Because the kingdom of God is at hand. Yeshua is coming the second time. We have to make our lives ready to receive him. I pray blessing over the meal that will be served here this evening. And I pray for those who brought in the meal. Pray blessings over their money, over their pockets, where they got the money to buy and prepare the meal that they brought here today. I pray that this meal will be a nourishment to our body and strengthen us. We thank you for the gift. I want us to end this prayer with our Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors to us.
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Short, announcements for the week. Basically, wow, I really need no mic. In short, we are still planning. We are planning stages for the to commemorate the Feast of Tabernacles together. So at this point, we have shirt orders for those that want to participate and have shorts. Please give me sizes so I can get those out for this week. I'll put this out in the WhatsApp chat. But I want to make sure that we get those all together. And for field payment as well for all those that's still thinking of coming. We want to make sure that we have that covered. We are expecting to have a blessed time together, so I do want to get that ironed out. Secondly, we had, I think, put the update about let me start over. Update regarding the neighbor night. Do we do this weekly? I just want to make sure, are we going to collect for the next week, or is any thoughts on that?
Not right now. Let
Okay.
me just wait, because let's figure out what we're gonna do, because the next time we do neighbor night will be
As a code? Okay, yay. And
so
then,
we'll figure all that out, and then I'll get back.
and we're gonna get, okay, got it. So,
Neighbor night will be
the first Tuesday of the month, we're gonna be in the Sakota top, so we're still planning on how we're gonna go, what we're gonna bring, and what we're gonna do, so I'll leave that, or as far as bags and how we're gonna do that, but we are planning. Dakota's not gonna keep us from helping out on that Tuesday night, so we're gonna figure out some way. That might be easy, like ladies road trip. We're gonna go out and as together. Maybe that can be an outing or something. But we're gonna still do our part in giving out food that night. Let's see. Any other part? I think that's it, right? That's my two things. I want to make sure that we get Dakota done, and I just want to share a night about the neighbor night. Mike? Okay.